She's ready.
Yes, I am. Okay, shalom, shalom, everybody. We have a lot of things to go over, so hope you ain't in a rush to go nowhere. So, okay, everyone that is new, we have a couple of new people that's in here. Jack, he's new old. We have
he wants to be called V, Mr. V.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And we have Helene, and we got a couple of, so all of you guys are going to get the Tier 1 document booklet first before you're going to get the actual Lamu Bible, Foundation Bible, which all of you have by now. All right, so I posted in here, right here, the tracking information. So, you know, it's going to show your city and state. You can track it, the package. It's supposed to be there on Saturday. I had to make extra books, which is the delay on Stacy's, Vaughn's, and the other ones I just don't have it. So if you don't have it, that means that you came in late, and so be patient with us. You know, we're trying to work it out for you. Okay? Now, as of last week in class, I told you guys that this week we're not starting the Tier 1 because we need to expedite some things before, well, with the certain situation that we're in, okay? So we're going to go over those documents that I had listed in here when we got out of class last Thursday, all right, which is here. Okay, we're going to talk about estate. We're going to be talking about the CESTUI Act, CESTUI Trust. We're going to be talking about admiralty law, maritime law, Jones Act, and law to sea, okay? Because we need to have an understanding of why are we even getting EINs? Why are we even getting an estate EIN, a living trust EIN, a holding trust, okay? We need to understand what is going on and how we got into this situation, okay? So we're going to be doing some reading, and then we're going to get into those documents so that you can have some understanding of that. But before we do that, we need to understand why we're even doing it, okay? We need to understand the situation that we are in. And the situation that we are in right now is under maritime law, admiralty law, okay? It's completely separate from civics and common law, all right? So we need to understand that we are in maritime law, and on top of that, and then we can go over further on and connect it to military occupation and connect it to Libra Code and some other things that we're going to go into so you know how to operate while you're still in that capacity, okay? So to start it off, we need to have an understanding of what is admiralty law, all right? So right up here, admiralty. Admiralty law or maritime law is a distinct body of law, both substantive and procedural, governing navigation and shipping. Let me blow this up a little bit. All right. Governing and navigation and shipping. Topics associated with this field and legal reference works may include shipping, navigation, water, commerce, seamen, towage, wharves, piers, docks, insurance, maritime liens, canals, and recreation. Piracy, ship hijacking is also an aspect of admiralty. The courts and Congress seek to create a uniform body of admiralty law both nationally and internationally in order to facilitate commerce. The federal courts derive their exclusive jurisdiction over this field from the Judiciary Act of 1789 from Article 3, subsection 2 of the U.S. Constitution. Congress regulates admiralty partially through the Commerce Clause. American admiralty law formerly applied only to American tidal waters. It now extends to any waters navigable within the United States for interstate or foreign commerce. In such waters, admiralty jurisdiction includes maritime matters not involving interstate commerce, including recreational boating. Admiralty law in the United States developed from the British admiralty courts present in most of the American colonies. These courts function separately from courts of law and equity, but the Judiciary Act through Congress placed admiralty under the jurisdiction of the federal district courts. Although admiralty shares much in common with the civil law, it is separate from it. Common law does not act as binding precedent on admiralty courts, but it and other law may be used when no law on point is available. Parties subject to admiralty may not contract out of admiralty jurisdiction, and states may not infringe on admiralty jurisdiction either judicially or legislatively. Since admiralty courts, however, are courts of limited jurisdiction, which does not extend to non-maritime matters, 28 U.S.C. subsection 1333, the Savings to Suitors Clause does not provide the concurrent state jurisdiction so that non-admiralty remedies will not be foreclosed. However, state courts may have jurisdictions where the matter is primarily local. Under admiralty, the ship's flag determines the source of law. For example, a ship flying the American flag in the Persian Gulf would be subject to American admiralty law, and a ship flying a Norwegian flag in American waters will be subject to Norwegian admiralty law. This also applies to criminal law governing the ship's crew, but the ship must be flying the flag legitimately. That is, there must be more than insubstantial contact between the ship and its flag in order for the law of the flag to apply. American courts may refuse jurisdiction where it would improve applying the law of another country, although in general international law does not seek uniformity in admiralty law. Okay? So, now some of you have seen some of my documents. Now let me give you an example of a couple of our flags, okay? So that we can understand. Because you need to understand, and these are keys for when you are going into different vessels, like different banks, okay? And what the flags would look like. All right, let me see. I'll put in... I should need to get my keyboard out. What else? Spell check it for me. This is a great example right here that we can blow up. Now, have you ever been inside of a bank and you're sitting there and you're waiting on the banker to come, and they come, but while you're sitting there, you also see the flag, and the flag has fringes of yellow, all right? That is an admiralty flag. That is a commercial flag, okay? Now, let me show you this one. Let's leave that right there. And let's look at this. Because we have to understand the distinction and how they try to play optical illusions with us. Okay, so this is the United States or American civil flag of peacetime. Okay, that means that we are not at war. We are at peace. It's a difference. Now, do you see how the lines are? Look at these two different flags. And then you see this one. Different, right? Now, I'll just keep one to reopen. Okay, perfect. All right, now you see how they try to fool us when they let the flag hang to make it the illusion as if it's a peaceful war, but it's not. These are two different flags, okay? This is the official flag of the United States, the unity of states, right? But then when we enacted admiralty law, we got our fringes, okay? So it goes into details like this. Are you operating as if you're under military occupation? Are you operating in a commercial status? All right? Are you on a ship? All right? There's a difference in distinction between these two flags. All right? Now, we need to talk about the law of the sea. And if someone would like to volunteer to start reading, that would be great. I'll blow this up a little bit more.
Come on, guys, let's go.
Okay, I guess I will since no one is. This is Stacy. Law of the sea is a body of international law that concerns the principles and rules by which public entities, especially states, interact in maritime matters, including navigational rights, sea mineral rights, and coastal waters jurisdiction. It is the public law counterpart of admiralty law, which concerns private maritime intercourse. The United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOUS, concluded in 1982 and put into force in 1994, is generally accepted as a codification of customary international law of the sea. Disputes are resolved at the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea, or ITLOS, a court in Hamburg. In 2017, ITLOS celebrated 20 years of existence, during which time it had settled some 25 cases. The tribunal has jurisdiction over all disputes concerning the interpretation or application of the convention, subject to the provisions of Article 297 and to the declarations made in accordance with Article 298 of the convention. The judge are derived from a wide variety of nations. With many people worldwide now turning their eyes to an ocean in peril, the Law of the Sea Convention turned into a global diplomatic effort to create a basis of laws and principles for all nations to follow concerning the sea and everything it held. The result, a 1982 Oceanic Constitution called the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Between New York, USA, and Geneva, Switzerland, ambassadors from 165 plus countries sat down to trade and barter for their nation's rights. The conference created the standard for a 12-mile territorial sea around a land and allowed it to gain universal acceptance. Within these limits, states are free to enforce any of their own laws or regulations or use any resources. Furthermore, each signatory coastal state is granted an exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, in which that state has exclusive rights to fisheries, mineral rights, and seafloor deposits. The convention allows for innocent passage through both territorial waters and the EEZ, meaning ships do not have to avoid such waters, provided they do not do any harm to the country or break any of its laws. This includes military vessels, as long as they, too, adhere to the definition of innocent passage laid out in UNCLOS Article 19. Because the EEZ is so extensive, ITLOS may need to determine the ocean boundaries between states, as they did in 2012 between Bangladesh and Burma, Myanmar. As the Arctic Ocean becomes increasingly important for both navigation and resources, the USA may find it necessary to submit to UNCLOS to clarify the Alaska/Canada border. You want me to read that next one?
Thank you. So, okay. No, you're fine. Thank you, beloved. Okay. So now we need to understand where you are, because we just read that admiralty law, aka maritime law, was created for a delegation of commerce, right, on import-export trades and things of that, as long as they don't abuse the rule of usufructuary. Okay? Now, we need to step outside of that, because we also know that all of this has been codified under a federal jurisdiction, right? The federal jurisdiction, which seems to want to open and close as they choose, is what they would call the federal government of the United States Corporation, and it's a quasi-judicial system, okay? Right. But we need to figure out, well, what do we do for private people? We're not going to go all the way into that today, because that's going to go into UCC. But either you're operating under admiralty law, military law, under military occupation, as a military vessel that is employed, or you're operating under common law, and then we'll get into Lex Mercatoria. Because Lex Mercatoria was the original UCC. It's the law of the merchant, okay? And so when you are private, you would operate through Lex Mercatoria to do your merchandising and things of that nature, okay? But for right now, we need to get back to how are we here, all right? How are we here? Now, what happened is that admiralty law, which is martial law, then created a scenario called the Jones Act, okay? And this gets into being lost at sea, okay? So we're going to get some clarity on this. And if we can get another reader, we can go ahead and kick this off. Don't be shy. Reading is fundamental.
Come on, guys. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. Let's go. Volunteer.
All right. I got it. Sayoko. Step 1A, understanding CESTUI. How do you pronounce that, Tiffany?
Pronunciation?
Yes.
Somebody help us out? I'd like to know how to pronounce it too.
Understanding CESTUI v. Act 1666, Existence of Life.
I'm sorry, I had myself. I got to echo. I had myself on mute. CESTUI or CESTUI. This depends on your enunciation.
CESTUI. Okay. London, 1666, during the Black Plague and Great Fires of London, Parliament enacted an act behind closed doors called CESTUI v. Act 1666. The act being debated was to sabotage the rights of men and women, meaning all men and women were declared dead, lost at sea, beyond the sea. Back then, operating in admiralty law, the law of the sea, so lost at sea. The state London took custody of everybody and their property into a trust. The state became the trustee husband, holding all titles to the people and property. Until a living man comes back to reclaim those titles, he can also claim damages. When capital letters are used anywhere in the name, this always refers to a legal entity, fiction, company, or corporation. No exceptions, e.g. John Doe or Doe James. CESTUI Trust, pronounced CESTUI, common term in New Zealand and Australia. Number 2, strawman, common term in the United States of America or Canada. Oh, so they're different. These are the legal entity fiction created and owned by the government whom created it. It is like owning a share in the stock market. You may own a share, but it is still the share of the stock. Legally, we are considered to be a fiction, a concept or idea expressed as a symbol, name or symbol. That legal person has no consciousness. It is a juristic person, en legis, a name worn written on a piece of paper. This traces back to 1666. London is an independent independent city-state, just like Vatican is an independent city-state, just like Washington, D.C. is an independent city-state. The Crown is a unincorporated association. Where you at, Tiffany? Why incorporated? It's private. The Temple Bar is in London. Every lawyer called to the bar Okay. The Crown is unincorporated association. Why unincorporated? It's private. The title bar is in London. Every lawyer called to the bar swears allegiance to the Temple Bar. You can't get called without swearing this allegiance. Our only way out to reclaim our dead entity straw man that the Crown created, become the executor, and then collapse the called CESTUI trust and forgive yourself of your debts, and then remove yourself from the admiralty law that holds you in custody. When London burned, the subrogation of men's and women's rights occurred. The Responsibility Act passed. CQV Act 1666 meant all men and women of UK were declared dead and lost beyond the seas. The state took everybody and everybody's property into trust. The state takes control until a living man or woman comes back and claims their titles by proving they are alive, and claims for damages can be made. This is why you always need representation when involved in legal matters, because you're dead. The legal fiction is a construct on paper and a state in trust. When you get a bill or summons from court, it is always in capital letters, similar to tombstones in graveyards. Capital letters signify death. They are writing to the dead legal fiction. A legal fiction was created when someone informed the government that there was a new vessel in town based upon your birth. Birth certificates are issued to us by the doc, or the DLC, just as ships are given birth certificates at the dock. Wow. It's about commerce. We come from our mother's waters. Our mother's has a birth canal just like a ship. The ship moves by the sea current just as we are able to move by the currency. All this information relates to how general public are still legally tied through maritime admiralty law. Through this ancient legal construct, we can be easily controlled and duped. Learning about your legal fiction helps you to unlock
What happened?
It stopped there.
Tiffany.
Where did it go?
All right, I'll pick it up.
Okay.
Thank you. You're learning about your legal fiction. Let me put y'all on for a second in the background. Taj, you can unmute yourself. All right. Learning about your legal fiction helps you to unlock yourself. Otherwise, you are just an empty vessel floating on the sea of commerce. Parents are tricked into registering the birth of their babies. Now, let's get into this. Let's get into this actual act. Okay? Let me pull it up. All right, this is just 4 pages, but this is the updated one, okay? The CESTUI Act, or CESTUI, however you want to say it, same thing. All right, it's 1707. I'm going to start off reading, and then I'm going to peel y'all off the wall, and we're going to go from there.
Stephen wanted to... I'm sorry. Stephen is up next. He volunteered.
Oh, well, go ahead, Stephen. Hit it.
All right. An act for the more effectual discovery of the death of persons pretended to be alive to the prejudice of those who claim estates after their deaths, Short title confirmed by Short Titles Act 1896, 59, and 60. I don't know what that is, that VIC. Alright, reasons for passing this act, reversions, etc. Expectant upon determination of life estate, upon affidavit of belief of death of infant or other tenant for life, and that such death is concealed by guardian, etc. May yearly obtain an order in chancery for the production of such tenant for life, whereas divers persons as guardians and trustees for infants and husbands in right of their wives and other persons having estates or interests determinable upon a life or lives have continued to receive the rents and profits of such lands after the determination of their said particular estates or interests. And whereas the proof of the death of the persons on whose lives such particular estates or interests depended is very difficult, and several persons have been and may be thereby defrauded, for remedy whereof and for preventing such fraudulent practices, be it enacted by the Queen's most excellent Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Lords spiritual and temporal and Commons in this present Parliament assembled, and by the authority of the same, that any person or persons who hath or shall have any claim or demand in or to any remainder, reversion, or expectancy in or to any estate after the death of any person within age, an aged married woman, or any other person whatsoever, upon affidavit made in the High Court of Chancery by the person so claiming such estate of his or her title, that he or she have cause to believe that such minor married woman or other person is dead, and that his or her death is concealed by such guardian trustee. Where you go? Where you at? Trustee, I think you went past it. Come down a little bit. Oh, no. Such guardian trustee, husband, or other person concealing. Wait, did I just go past? Guardian, husband, or any other person shall and may once a year, if the person aggrieved shall think fit, move the Lord Chancellor, Keeper, or Commissioners for the custody of the Great Seal of Great Britain for the time being to order, and they are hereby authorized and required to order such guardian trustee, husband, or other person concealing or suspected to conceal such person at such time and place as the said court shall direct on personal or other due service of such order to produce and shew to such person and persons not exceeding 2, as shall in such order be named by the party or parties prosecuting such order, such minor married woman or other persons aforesaid. And if such guardian trustee, husband, or such other person as aforesaid shall refuse or neglect to produce or show such infant married woman or such other person on whose life any such estate doth depend according to the directions of the said order, that then the Court of Chancery is hereby authorized and required to order such guardian trustee, husband, or other person to produce such minor married woman or other persons concealed in the said Court of Chancery or otherwise before commissioners to be appointed. Alright, move on up. Be appointed by the said court at such time and place as the court shall direct I had to message log up. Shall direct 2 of which commissioners shall be nominated by the party or parties prosecuting such order at his, her, or their costs and charges. And in case such guardian trustee, husband, or other person shall refuse or neglect to produce such infant married woman or other person so concealed in the Court of Chancery, or before such commissioners, whereof return shall be made by such commissioners, and that return filed in the petty bag office in either or any of the said cases, The said minor married woman or such other person so concealed shall be taken to be dead, and it shall be lawful for any person claiming any right, title, or interest in remainder or reversion or otherwise after the death of such infant married woman or such other persons so concealed as aforesaid to enter upon such land's tenants and hereditaments as if such infant married woman or other persons so concealed were actually dead. Jurisdiction under this act in relation to land under the Real Property Acts or sought to be brought under those acts is conferred on the Supreme Court or a judge thereof by the Real Property Acts 1861 and 1963, Section 90, page 633, post. It appears that the Supreme Court also possesses jurisdiction under the Act by virtue of 20, 21, and 34 of the Supreme Court Act of 1867, title of Supreme Court. A remainderman may apply notwithstanding that in certain events he is not immediately entitled on the death of the life tenant. Ex parte grants, 1801. Let's see. For procedure under this section, see Re Owen, 1878, 10th chapter. I'm assuming it's 10th chapter. You don't
have to read all that, beloved. That's just some case law. You don't have to read all that. All right, so we got some bullet points here. Okay? So it says that you got to go to Chancery Court. Who knows what Chancery Court is? Probate. Chancery Court is probate, okay? And so in probate court is where you get the petty bag. The petty bag office is the common civil law side of the Chancery Court. Now, in some states like Tennessee, they call their probate court Chancery courts, okay, which is common law court, all right? That's why when you get adopted, you go to probate. When you get married, you go to probate. When you get name change, you go to probate. When you do all these things, you're going into probate, okay? Now, there's another reason. Did any of y'all pick up? What is an infant married woman? What is that?
A minor?
And why are they still mentioned? Yeah, what is that? What is that? It's such as infant married woman. What is an infant married woman?
A minority.
A virgin? A maiden?
Okay. Well, have you ever heard of an infant decedent estate?
Oh.
Because now we're talking about estate law, okay? And they're using the woman and the husband because of the simple fact that this is why when you get married, you take your husband's last name. Because in estate law, you would become underneath his estate. You would be a ward of his estate, okay? This is estate law, all right? Meaning that you would have the permissions and the status of your husband, okay? So if you are an infant decedent woman and you marry someone that has an estate, then that's why you would take on the name, and thus forth why the children would take on the name of the married man. But we got a lot of things. Just completely screwed up. We got children out of wedlock but have the same name as the father, but there's no estate. In estate law, if you have a child out of wedlock, the child, by law, is to take the mother's maiden name, which should be her father's name, and that child is to be inside of that estate of the grandfather. And that is how that is supposed to go. All right? But this comes into the name change. A lot of us was talking about name change before I came on the mic. All right? You do not, under any circumstance, want to change the name of that estate on public record. Once again, because if you change the name, the last name is the estate. That estate is the name on that certificate. If you change that name completely, you abandon the estate. There is 2 name changes. If you want to be Abala, Gabula, Yalahu, that's a second name change. Okay, and it is not through the Court of Chancery. The purpose of your name change on the court record right now is for you to annex it or change it to a syntax proper. Okay? A lot of us don't agree with El, Bay, Day, Ali, or however derivative. Okay? So then you would still have to change the syntax of the word. But also, when we were reading, we crossed the path called titles, where it said that you could come and claim to the Court of Chancery, right, your noble title. So that's where we get those titles from. And even when you break those titles down, okay, because there's actually a couple of them that are not mentioned, all right? There's a couple of them that are not mentioned. But anyways, when you break them down into its organic format to the aborigines of America, then you will see that those are titles of nobility. But if you're not feeling that flow and you just want to annex your name, do not change the last name. When you do your name change, when we're going through that process, your name will be your name on that birth certificate hyphen whatever you want to change it to, okay? Or you're going to put a hyphen in between your name to change it to proper syntax, all right? So now we're changing proper syntax is the proper way of your name, which is upper lowercase, all right? So even if you want to say, forget nobility, I just want to be alive, this is the first step of doing that. They just sat here and told us in their own script exactly what we need to do in order to relinquish our estate. So when you get that name change and it has been granted, do we understand what granted means? To grant something means to bestow or convey. So when the chancery, a.k.a. probate judge, grants that name change, they are bestowing, conveying that estate unto you. So therefore, we can continue to do our claim of life. Because, mind you, we're still deceding estates lost at sea from the age of 7. All right? So now that we got a play on what is going on, we can go on now to number 2. And let's see. If such infant, etc., tenant for life, a tenant for life. What do they mean by tenant for life? Now we go into the rule of usufructuary. The rule of usufructuary means that you can, as long as you don't damage the fruit, you can do whatever you want to do to it, which is what's been going on this whole time because they hypothecated that birth certificate and made you the illegist, made you the trustee, the responsible party of this particular illegist, okay? So you are a tenant. You're basically a parent of your own vessel. See, we got to separate that too. We got to separate our corporation, our decedent estate, because that is an entity, from us, the living, breathing, sentient individual. We are talking 2 different things, okay? So it's not personal, it's business. And where I'm here to show you how to mind your business and stop drowning in the high seas of commerce and be a navigator on Lex Mercatoria, okay? So this is what we're here to do, all right? So a tenant for life appeared to be in some place beyond sea. Party prosecuting such order may send over to view such infants. And be it further enacted by the authority aforesaid that if it shall appear to the said court by affidavit that such minor married woman or other person for such life, such estate is holden is, or lately was at some certain place beyond the seas in the said affidavit to be mentioned, it shall and may be lawful for the party or parties prosecuting such order as aforesaid at his, her, or their costs and charges to send over one or both the said persons appointed by the said. Now, this is the secure party creditor. When we do the name change, we went in there with an affidavit of declaration of nationality conversion. But wait, what is an affidavit? An affidavit, that is a certified copy.
Tiffany? Hello?
Did I just cut out on y'all?
Yeah.
Yes.
I did?
Yep, we lost about 35 seconds.
All right. This is a secure party creditor because it says it's two parties. We need two parties that are authorized to stand up to accept this estate. Okay? Like I was saying, affidavit. Affidavit is a certificate. Because if you have an affidavit is your record of events. And if you get it certified, that makes it a certificate. That's why when you're coming into civil unions and you know that you're not supposed to contract with the state to get married, you would create an affidavit, you would get a certified copy, and thus make it a certificate of matrimony. All right? So your birth certificate is an affidavit. Did it not say, at this particular time, this is the event that transpired? It is the manifesto. It is the manifest. It's the bill of lading. All right? So, now that we got all this, now that we have a clear understanding, y'all can continue to read this, but I'm going to go past because I already knew we were going to run over. But now we're going to get into these EINs. All right? Now, first EIN that you need to have. Now, I posted this link inside of the classroom today, which is the link. When you hit the link, it'll ask me. I'll say yes, and you're good to go. All right? Now, the first EIN that you need to establish for yourself would be the estate. The estate EIN. Now, the estate EIN will not be a 498 number. Where were you birthed at? Once you birthed domestically inside of this corporation, so then why would it be foreign? All right? Oh, that's not mine. That's somebody else's. Hold on, y'all. I'll pull up mine. I got to make sure to stay up. Don't put your documents all up in my Dropbox.
All up in your DM.
All up in my space. Let's see. All right, there you go. All right, so this is what it is. Now, to get your estate number, you can do it on irs.gov. You go to IRS/EIN request, right? And you would do it straight from there. You could print off this confirmation sheet at the same time, all right? So you would print this off, and you would be the executor, okay? So this is one of the ones that you would have to get. Now, this used to be the very first step in EIN, but things have changed now because now they want extra information. So then that's fine because we're going to give it to them. So we're going to have to go for the living trust to come back to get the estate. All right, there's a lot of changes that has occurred. All right, that's why it's very important that you're around active people that are actively doing things. Okay, there's a reason why there are millions of dictionaries. Okay, things revise themselves. All right, now let's get to this. Living trust. All right, this is a template for the living trust. How would you acquire such number? You would acquire the number by calling the IRS on the phone. Okay? They close at, 10 o'clock Eastern. The number in which you will be calling. Let me pull it up for you. It's 267-941-1099. Now, when you get this template, this is exactly how it should be filled out, okay? Mind you, this is why this P.O. box is imperative, okay? Now that we've already discussed that we are not going to go ahead and abandon our estates and we're just annexing it in, all right? Now we need to make sure we have this P.O. box, UPS box, whichever one you want to use, okay? Because when you call these people to get this 498, they're going to do an authentication to see if you have a Social Security number, all right, which is the social identification number, which is the sin, which is why for the wages of your sin is death and you're a deceived estate. So We need to make sure that we get this address that is unassociated with anything of your debtor, okay? It needs to be unassociated, okay? So it's simple as can be. You go in there, you get your P.O. box, da-da-da. Now, you have a post office within the Postal General, okay? So when you're filling this form out, number one would be your name change, living trust. So, an example. Let me pull one up for you. An example, I'll show you. I'll open up another window. Of what this should look like. I wonder if I still got one down here. No. Alright, let's look at this one. Alright, so this is what it would look like. This would be your name change. So it would be your birth certificate name, and then it would be living trust. Okay? That's exactly what it should say. So let's get back over here to these documents. So if your name is Jane Bond Doe, your new name should be Jane Bond Doe hyphen, if you're going to take a L Day Bay, Ali Ray, all right? Or it should be Jane hyphen Bond semicolon Doe, living trust. All right? Let's make sure that we have clarity on that. So that is what would be a number one. Jane Bond Doe hyphen L, Jane hyphen Bond, semicolon Doe, living trust. All right? Now, 4A would be where you would put that P.O. box or UPS box that you've got. 3 would be you again, because you are the executor. Okay? 5A would be the foreign address. Foreign address. What do I mean by foreign address? Foreign address means an address and location that is not within the Hague Convention. So, primarily, if you used Taiwan or Bahamas, whatever you used when you authenticated your birth certificate, okay? That country that is non-Hague territory. Non-Hague territory. All right? You can simply Google that. All right? It'll take you to the United Nations and show you what is in the Hague and what is not. And go and find you an address. All right? I have one that you can use. Mine is in Peru. You know, that's fine if that's what you want to do. However, whatever. I would also, yes, Todd.
I have a little chateau in the Bahamas if y'all would like to use my address too.
Okay. In any event, I would also encourage you guys, when you're picking out this foreign address, to keep it in a maxim. And what do I mean by a maxim? I'm meaning the North, the Central, and the South Americas, okay? Because you can't turn around and say that you're an American Aboriginal national, but your ass is somewhere else. It doesn't make sense, okay? Any event. 7A. 7A would be the responsible party, all right? Now, you are the secured party creditor. You want to be the authorized representative. Excuse me, hold on. All right, you want to be the authorized representative of said trust, right? You're the creditor. So, therefore, that would be you, That's where we get into hold harmless and indemnity agreements. But that would be you again. You don't have a social. Does this name change have a social? I haven't seen it. Because the only social that we ever had was the one that they just decided that they were going to go ahead and contract with a minor when they weren't even the age of consent and just gave us because of our parent corporation known as our mother and father. All right? You don't have a social. That name change you doesn't have a social. All right? And it's not weird because they're used to this. We've been doing this for a while. All right? They'll ask you for your birthday. You can give them your real birthday, or you can just make up one, because it doesn't matter. That's part of the authentication process to see if you are a citizen, okay, because they want to keep you in maritime law. All right? Now, 8A, is this application for a limited liability company, LLC? No. Then 8B doesn't apply. 9A, what are we doing? It says type of entity. It's a trust. It's a trust, all right? Now, they'll say, once again, they'll ask you, where is the trust formed? Well, the trust would be formed in the country of the non-Hague territory in which you put on line 5A. Well, it will be 5, 6. It will be line 6, all right? Formed foreign, all right? Now we get down to 10. What is the reason for applying? Well, I created a trust. And it's a charitable trust, okay? Now, we're going to bypass this one on 11 because the way it used to be is the day that the trust opened was the day that you got your name change granted. Well, it would be silly of me to think that all of you have done that without instruction. So you would put today's date, the date that you're calling to get this, okay, because you still have to prepare the trust and everything anyways. So you would put that. You do 13, closing month of accounting year, October. Why October? Can anyone think of why October instead of being on the fiscal calendar of December? Why October? October is the autumn phase, and this is when everything is due. All right? This is when all debts are to be paid. This is the 10th month of the cycle. All right? It is the due date. When you are, if we're going off of lunar solar calendar, right, that means that the beginning of the year, which is about to come up, would be the first month, right? And then we go trickle on down, and then it would put us at full time. But when we're dealing with these people, all debts are due in the 10th month, because mind you, they're going off of a Gregorian calendar, which means it started in January, it ends in December. So if we're talking pregnancy, it is due on the due date. The due date would be the 10th month. The due date. Are you due? It is due in October. All right. 13, we are not having any employees. Okay, they'll ask you on the phone, how many U.S. persons are going to have employees for this year? And you can simply keep it real with them. We ain't having no U.S. persons, period. All right? We keep it moving. All right? Now, we go down, and then you put your name here, your phone number, and whatnot. And that is what you do when you call to get your Living Trust 98 number. She will tell you your 98 number while you are on the phone, you know, and then you would get that. Now, once you get that 98 number, now we can move back to getting the estate. Now, to get the estate number, you would go to apply for EIN number. All right? Now, when you get on this site here, apply now, because we already got our 98 number. Apply now. Now, when it goes through this, it'll say, blah, 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 begin application. Okay? Now, when you're in here, you're going to go for estate. Now, when you're going into estate, they're going to ask you. You are to put the same information that is on that Social Security card. Okay? But it needs to be made. And so hopefully y'all ain't did all that crazy stuff. All right? So go with the birth certificate, scratch that. Take that back, because now I'm thinking women and multiple marriages going to mess it up when we're dealing with an estate. Maiden name, birth certificate name, social security number, okay? Now, when you go through that, when you go to the next page, it's going to ask you for an address. On that page, you put the address of the non-HAG territory convention that you put on for the living trust of the 98SS4. And at the bottom, it's going to say, do you have another address within the United States? And you say yes. And then you put in that P.O. box or UPS address. All right? Then on the next page, it's going to say, who is the fiduciary? Now it's going to have a pull-down option. You're going to select that you're the executor of this estate, which is true. If you're a woman, it's executrix, but, you know, it's a sexist society. But anyway, you're the executor. It's going to ask you for your name. What is your name? That is the name change you. So if you are Jane Bond Doe, then that is the name you put in. All right? So it will say Jane Bond Doe Living Trust is exactly what it should say. And you, underneath that, you put the 98 number. Now, it should ask you, is it an individual or an existing business? It's an existing business because it's a trust. It's an entity. All right? So you would put in the name that is on that trust, exactly the way that you did it on that SS4 for the living trust. If it does not match, you will not go forward. Okay? It has to match. The exact same wording that you use with that number has to match. And you put that in there, they'll ask you to confirm that all information is correct, and you hit submit, and then you can print the page out on a PDF confirmation. All right? Now, on to the third EIN. Third EIN will be your registered holding trust. This goes back to Tosh talking about registered mail labels and mailing yourself the registered mail labels. Well, I took it upon myself because I'm proactive. In the packet that you're getting on Saturday, I put 4 registered mail labels in each one of your envelopes. So there's no excuse. What you need to do is you need to carry yourself on down to the post office, all right? And you write yourself a registered mail label. You can do it from the estate to the name change you, even though it doesn't exist, but you're an illegus anyway. None of you exist. So that's how you would do that, and you would pay for the insurance. You have to pay for the insurance. Now, that's where we get this number, registered holding trust. The registered holding trust is what is going to cloak you with all of your assets, okay? So there's a lot of things that go into that. We'll get into that when we get into trust. All right, so the only thing on this form from the last living trust that we're looking at that changes is number 1. Instead of having your name, living trust, you would have that registered mail number, holdings, all right? You would put the same addresses. You would have the same administrator. You would have the same responsible party, okay? But this time, on the name of the responsible party, you're going to put Jane Bond Doe L Living Trust. And you're going to put that 98 number that you just got for the living trust, okay? This is bringing this holding trust underneath your living trust, okay? So what we just did right here is we absorbed an estate and a holding trust underneath the living you, okay? This is the first part of coming back alive, all right, is the living. Either you're dead or you're alive. Either you're a creditor or you're a debtor. It's black and white. If it ain't in black and white, it ain't correct, it ain't nothing. It didn't even exist. It's hearsay, and it's not admissible. Now, same thing applies here, okay? Then we go down. Now, this is when you would do the date the same way I told you to do on the living trust, okay? Today's date, you still don't have any employees, all right? Now, it's still a charitable trust, by the way. It's a grantor charitable trust, okay? Community development, however you want to phrase it, all right? Now, another thing when you're talking to these people, they think they're slick, all right? There's been a lot of people coming in with their titles of nobility and just been misguided and miseducated. So, you know, they'll try you, but, you know, you're not doing anything wrong, period, point blank, all right? So when you're going through here, they'll say certain things to you like, I just completely forgot what I was about to say, like your birthday I told you about. What type of trust? There it is. When they ask you, when you get on the phone and you tell them what you're doing, because they'll say, are you trying to apply for a foreign trust? Now, if you say it's a charitable trust, but that's because of the fact that we have to go down here, and you'll understand that when we get on the phone with them about the tax accounting. They want everybody to do their accounting on the fiscal year. If you really sit back and look about it, they want you, because the new moon isn't even here yet. It's not spring. But they got you all categorized to go ahead and end the fiscal year in debt because of Christmas, start the fiscal year in debt because of New Year's, and then take all your money and give you a little token to carry on in the spring. All right? But had you have done it all ahead of schedule, a lot of things could have been prevented. All right? So, and that's for the holding trust. All right? Now, let me ask y'all if y'all have any questions before I proceed. I'm going to open up the line for questions to make sure that, of course, y'all are unmuted.
Does anybody as confused as I am?
No, I'm not confused. I just need to go over this again just to make sure I get every point. This is recorded, right?
Of course it is, beloved.
Okay, all right, good. I get it, but it's a lot. It's a lot, which is cool. I'm excited. The one question I have is I noticed Tosh put his Bahamas address up there. That's fine. I appreciate that. But just in case we wanted to do another one, can we do a virtual address that you can like buy online?
Why are you gonna spend money?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm just asking because I mean, I don't want too many people.
One. That is the ultimate goal. You know,
right.
That is the ultimate goal to have it established there. That's fine. You can get an they call that remote.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can do that.
Address, right.
Yeah,
okay.
You can do that. You can even get people to actually file your trust over there. They have that. It just depends on what the coins look like.
Okay. So just with all what you just went over, the very, very first step I want to do is go to the post office and get that P.O. box, right, with the
yes, you do.
With the name change.
Yes, you do.
Okay, got
it. Yes, you do.
But how
you don't need your name change right now. You just need
no,
to
not
have
the name change. I mean, just with the added with the hyphen and the L or day or bay, whatever.
Exactly. So that's what all of you need to do, and to mail that registered mail. Now, the reason why we are in Tier 4 right now, because this is Tier 4 information. Mm-hmm. The reason we skipped ahead is because I'm having an echo. The reason we skipped ahead is because of the simple fact that we got a deadline on the 15th. Who knows what's going to happen? They could shut it down again. I don't know. I don't care. It's not my thing. I'm nonpartisan. But it could happen. Now, through that whole 30-something days, you could not get no 498 number. You couldn't get nothing. Okay? Because we have to understand that we have to catapult ourselves through these different jurisdictions. Right now, as sad as it is, being chattel property, y'all are all the way down at statutory law, which ain't shit, because statutory law codes is not law. Those are quasi-judicial laws. That's like saying You come to my church, hell no, you can't bring no bacon in here. That's a law of my church. And you can't come over here with that, all right? So that's how that plays out. So you have to relinquish yourself from the chancery and all that. But what's most important right now is that you guys get these 9-8 numbers. Because if it so happens that you won't be able to get these EIN numbers, then you won't be able to establish the estate, the living trust, or the holding trust, which is your claim of life. So if you can't establish your estate and all you have is the birth certificate, which is principal, that's not good. That means that you just got to go ahead and just up that whole certificate in a recognized tribe that will even accept you because, you know, it's kind of like you're a debtor in your dead weight. So let's make sure that we're getting this done, meaning tomorrow. All right? Let's make sure that we're getting this done. All right? If you need any questions, we are here. All right? We are here to navigate with you. All right? If you're getting some bumps in the road, however, let us know and we can assist you in getting this done. All right? It is very important that you get this done. All right? Now, let's go to these next forms. Now, after you've got your EINs and everything, now we're going to get into the 8822B. All right? Now, the 8822B, a change of address or responsible party. All right? So, you know when we went and got that estate number that it was domestic, and you know that its custodian is the Birth State Department of Vital Statistics, 55 Water Street, the hospital, you know. That is where you are located. You never left your permanent residence. Your permanent residence is your birth state. So that's where you get, if you were born in Alabama, if you declare your nationality, well, beloved, you're an Alabamian. Okay? So, this is how we would fill this out. We're changing the business location. We're changing the business location from a domestic, which is inside of the District of Columbia, right? Because there is the address, so on. We're going to change location for a business name. The birth name, estate. So the same way that state confirmation that you got from the IRS when you went online and printed it out on the PDF, remember? It's going to be an 83 number. So it's going to say Jane Von Doe Estate. And then you put that number, the 83 number, right there. Old mailing address. You can use 55 Water Street, which is the DTC. You can use the department, your birth state Department of Vital Statistics. All right? You can even use your hospital in which you were birthed, because that's where you were birthed when you died. And then you got your manifestation known as your birth certificate, right? So then you would put your birth, if you're going to do the vital statistics, because this is how this form is broken down, it would be the county in which you were born. So if you were born in Cook County, Illinois, then you would put Cook County Department of Vital Statistics, you would put Illinois, you would put Cook County and the zip code. All right? Now, number 6, the new mailing address would be the care of address, okay? The care of address would be that P.O. box or that UPS box. All right? 7 would be the business location, which would be where is the principal located. The principal located is in that foreign, non-Hague Convention territory, the same address that you put on your SS4s, the foreign one, whether you're in Bahamas, you're in Peru, wherever you're at. That's the address that you would put on 7. The new responsible party. Now, the reason you have a new responsible party is because you've already had fiduciaries. You've already been a dependent. You've already had people that are delegating behind you for your benefit to receive privileges. So now we're going to change the responsible party to the living trust. And we're going to put the living trust 98 number on 9. All right? We're going to sign it. It's up to you, your discretion, minister or not, but beneficiary, TTEE, is abbreviated for trustee, and authorized representative. All right? Now, where to file this form? You would file this form with the state that you were birthed. So, if you were birthed in Alabama, then you need to send this to Utah. If you were birthed in Connecticut, then you need to send it to Ohio. All right? Now, there's some instructions in here for you guys if you want to read that, but that's as simple as that goes. Now, what you've done on this form is you've conveyed this estate from being a domestic entity into a foreign private trust, making you the representative of. Okay? Now, next form is 8832. Now, this is the entity election. All right? So, once again, we're going to do the birth name estate. Jane Bond Doe Estates. Same address, the vital statistics that you use on the other one. Same EIN number. Now, part 1, election information. Type of election. Initial classification by a newly formed entity. Yes. Did we just form that foreign trust? Yes, we did. Has the eligible entity previously filed an entity election? No, we haven't. Was the eligible entity prior election an initial classification election by a newly formed entity that was effective on the date of formation? No. Why is this? Because of the fact that there's already been a trust for you. Remember the CESTUI trust, which already had other people appointed? Okay. Does the eligible entity have one or more owners? Yes, it does. So, who are these owners? For one, the living trust would be the name of the owner. The second owner would be, if you're tribal, it would be the Tabernacle of Israel with that EIN. If you're not, and you want to do your own thing, then you need to put your registered mail information right there from that holding trust. All right? Now, type of entity. A foreign eligible entity electing to be classified as a partnership. 7. If the eligible entity is created or organized in a foreign jurisdiction, provide the foreign country of organization. Was the estate a foreign organization in a foreign jurisdiction? Was it created in a foreign jurisdiction? No. It was created in the United States corporation, and it's domestic. Because if it was foreign, you wouldn't be here on this line with me. 8. Election is to be effective beginning date now. What is today's date? Now. All right? And then name and title of contact person. You would put your name in. See, this is proper syntax. This is when we're stepping out from you being the trust and you being the individual. All right? This is what proper syntax. So earlier when I was saying, okay, you don't want nobility? Cool, whatever. All right? This is how you would change your name. This would be your name change. So it would be Tiffany-Diane semicolon last name. That's how you would do that. All right? Now, down here would be your titles: beneficial owner, accredited investor, consulate rep, executor, executrix. All right? If you are a woman, you would be the executrix. If you are a man, you would be the executor. Minister is completely up to you. All right? And then the second page just goes on. If you need it, you extend it. You need more time. So it's really not important for this. All right? Now, this is when you change your elections of the estate. Period, point blank. Now you have corrected everything so that now you are in a whole different tax bracket. And if you've done it completely, you will get a letter in the mail from the IRS letting you know, kudos, good job. Thank you for being a creditor and not a dependent waiting on food stamps. Thank you. Mind your business. All right? So those are the simple task that you have to do. Now, one more document. We're going to go through this W.A. Ben, then we're going to go question, and then we're going to be out of here. All right. W.A. Ben, Certificate of Foreign Status. Now that you've completed all those steps, you are eligible to fill one of these out. All right? Who is the individual? You, the individual, in proper syntax. Country of citizenship. We don't got no damn citizenship. What? I'm an American Aboriginal State national. Permanent resident would be the non-Hague Convention Territory resident. The mailing address would be the care of P.O. Box, UPS box, however you want to use, all right? Now, 5, you're not a U.S. taxpayer. 6, you're a foreign tax identification number. Is that 9A number? Date of birth would be your date of birth, all right? Now, Part 2 goes into claim of tax treaty benefits. You could change things in here depending on how they mirror your life, okay? So we're going to keep the principles. All right, like number 9, I certify that the beneficial owner is a resident of the Antarctic lands of, semicolon, the Americas. All right, within the meaning of the income tax treaty between the United States and that country. All right? Now, 10, special rates and conditions. All right, all articles and provisions claim at 0% withholding. All right? Applicant is a heir of the Most High Kingdom. Now, we'll go into that a little bit later because that is eternal law, which is natural law. If you flip to the book that you've received in the mail, there's a part that goes into law. And there's a breakdown, a constitutional breakdown, private and public law. Read that. All right? There's a reason why you have the unalienable right to have freedom of religion. Okay? Because that is natural law, which is common law, which is the law of the land. Are you in the C? You over there in UCC? Or you over there in natural law? All right? Now, this is the treaties. This is where you would make your own self-determination of how you want to identify yourself as an Aborigine. So if you want to identify yourself as child of the Most High, then you got the Treaty of Aquaba. You want to identify yourself in other things, you can use multiple things. Treaty of Camp Holmes, Treaty of Peace and Friendship. There's multiple treaties, all right, that you can use. Now, one thing do not take out of here. Pursuant to Section 341B of the Immigration Nationality Act. Read it if you don't know why it's there. 8 U.S.C. 1452, non-citizen national status. And then Convention of Madrid, Article 95, Act of I can't never pronounce that. Glorious, whatever. Most favored nation status, okay? Don't take that out. You can change all the treaties and all that stuff, which is conducive to your life, all right? And then this is the certification where you do declare, and then you would sign it. All rights reserved, just like it says at the bottom. So just how it is printed at the bottom is how you should sign it at the top, okay? And then that is that. And that is that form for you. Simple, easy peasy. Let's get it done. Now I'm going to open up the mics for your questions.
Hey, Tiffany.
I have a question.
Are y'all there?
Yes.
This is Stacy.
Okay. Who has the question?
Me.
Hi, Yoka.
Hey, you got like a real echo going on.
We all do.
All of us do.
Are you on my
I'm
No, I'm
not.
on my laptop.
Tiffany, you got a lot of feedback.
Huh? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello?
I think that happens when she opens it up for everybody. Maybe that's why.
Okay, you're good
Okay.
now.
What's up, Mayota?
Okay, I just wanted to ask the templates, because I put it in there, but I can't seem to get back to the notes. But all the templates that you just showed us, they're going to be in the Google Classroom?
Yep, I already put them in there. They're right here. They're right here in class work. All right, right here. Tonight's class. There's the link. Take you straight where you need to go.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
How does one get to the Google Classroom?
Who is that, Joan?
No, this is Stacy.
Okay, there's a link inside of there. Let me get over here. All of you that are not lit up, you got to go into the email because I sent the email. When I sent the invitation for this class, there's another email. You have to go and accept it. So Joan, J. Rue, Mars, Stacy, there you go right there. Shanine, y'all got to accept that invitation. Aloysius, you got to accept the invitation because if you don't accept the invitation, you can't get into the portal and you can't get to the Google Drive.
Well, I'm not seeing the invitation. I don't know.
I'll send it to you right now.
Okay.
Again.
But I do have a question relative to this name thing because before I even, got into any of this, I did change my name in 2012. But my last name is currently my middle name. Does that make sense? So it's still on my birth certificate, which is authenticated, and my maiden name is Small.
Okay, you changed your name, but okay, I'm trying to follow along. You did your name change, right?
Yes.
But the name on your birth certificate is still the same?
It still says Utasia, yes.
Are you married?
No.
Okay, I'm just going to be real with you. Because have you noticed that when women get married, we go and change our Social Security account number, but we never change the birth certificate?
Right.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Because we never left that estate. We just got a parent. So my advice would be to you to change your name back to your birth name and annex it or syntax it, however you want to do.
So, like, go to downtown and legally change it back.
Change it back. Change it back.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
This is Ayoka. Is that because once you got married or once you change your name, it's like you said earlier, you abandon your estate?
Yep.
Okay.
So change it back. Everything has to correlate. All right? We're dealing with that estate name. This is where all this comes from. All of this comes out of that certificate of birth, which is that estate name. All right? That social needs to reflect that same name. All of it needs to reflect that same name. All right? Now, like I mentioned before, there's a second name change. All right? That second name change is your spiritual, tribal, private name. And that is what goes on your passport, all right, which is your American national passport. And you would do that simply through an affidavit. It would be not through anybody's chancery because you're out of that jurisdiction, all right? So we have to get back to the estate because right now we second removed. So if you've already legally changed your name, let's say whatever happened, we need to change it back. So if your name is Kimberly somebody else, but you were born Jane Bond Doe, then you need to go change your name to Jane Bond Doe L or Jane Bond Doe.
Okay.
All right. We got any more questions?
I got a question.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask, after I do all this that you just described, how can I change this at my place of employment so that I'm put on notice there right away with the name change as also the trust?
All Okay, beloved. That's 2 steps ahead. All right? As far as you're not going to be contracting with this new name. Once you get this court order name change, no, you do not. One more time. Go and update your ID. You do not go open any accounts. You do not. No one knows this happened except for you and Chancery. So everything that you have going on with bank accounts, employment, and everything that you have in your debtor's name, you're going to continue to live that life. Okay? You're going to continue to live that life, so you are secured in everything you're doing, and then we will rescind all of those contracts.
Okay. So we're getting steps in order right now.
Yes, we are laying the foundation to your
Totally
temple.
understand. Perfect. All right. Good enough for me. Thank you.
Stephen has a good question, Tiffany.
What's the question?
Stephen?
You there, Stephen?
Oh,
Shalom.
My bad. Shalom, beloved. So I had 2 questions. The first one is, are we doing all this on the phone with the IRS, or are we register mailing half of these or some of, like, are we doing this?
The 9-8 numbers, all of the EINs are done over the phone and the internet. So the estate you're going to pull offline from IRS.gov, and you're going to call the 267 number. I'll tell it to you guys again. For the 9-8 numbers for the living trust and for the holding trust. All right?
Okay.
Let me pull it up one more time for you.
Can you just put it in the classroom thing? The 267?
Yeah, I'll post it in there.
Okay, that'll work.
But if you're listening, 267-941-1099. Want 1099 OID? Well, you better go get you insurance. All right?
All right.
Numbers don't lie. People do.
That's just for the EINs, right? Okay.
Just for the EINs.
The last question I had was, if I'm a tribal member, and if I'm a tribal member, do I have to have the L title of nobility or for the syntax name, or can I still use the name that I shared with you before? I have it in the comments.
You can use the name that you shared. What, beloved? We are universal. You know, the most I gave you that name. All right, don't get tripped up on them names. We got all types of people up in this tribe.
Oh, well, just so I don't step out of the I guess the trust or whatever, the tabernacle that you have going so far. So
Taj is a day. Taj is a day. We got shoot. Yeah. Don't worry about all that stuff.
Okay, so
that's just it's a name. It's just a name of what you want to name your business. It has nothing to do with your sentient being.
Okay, so the tabernacle, the EIN number, what's that? Could you send that?
It's the 83 number. It's on here. It's on the form. I'll show it to you again.
Okay, yeah, this ain't no Jim Jones setup, man. It's a University of Free Thought. We ain't trying to lock you into nothing.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to be in order with things. You know what I mean? I didn't want to step out of boundaries.
Absolutely, we appreciate you for asking.
I'm sorry. I mean, like detailed questions like that.
No.
All right. Now, let me explain something.
Hold on.
Let me explain something to you guys. All right? The whole reason why you became a decedent estate lost at sea is because after 7 years, your estate wasn't claimed. You were claimed by the Vatican under the royal crown. And under that, they accepted you by baptismal. So you were baptized into being a decedent estate. Through the water, through birth, did you become a decedent estate. Now, if you ever do some history, before birth certificates were issued because of the Great Depression, everyone kept ledger of their birth in the back of their Bibles. All right? And then they had baptismal reports. That's the whole reason why your first step in redemption is through the tabernacle, because it's a civil registry. It is a record of conversion. where you were saying, I am not of that, I am of this. And then you were baptized with a baptismal report where now you have come in perfect presentation. And then you washed your hands of your debts, and now you have tribal enrollment. All right? So if that clarifies things for people.
Tiffany Sudayoka again. And I see that you have it here in blue, and that's these documents we're going to fill out in blue, because I remember you said in our orientation that we use red pen for something and blue pen for other, correct?
Yes, ma'am. You use red pen for affidavit.
Okay, right.
But your word is your bond, so you are signing in blood. If you are a living person, everything else should be signed in blue. If you have a black ink pen, you throw it away. Because he has to be with the original, the one that creates the document, owns the document. So no one knows what the master copy is.
Tiffany.
Another copy.
Tiffany.
Yes.
You gotta say that whole thing again. You was echoing like a mug.
Yeah.
Affidavits are signed in red because that is your truth. So it is to be signed in blood, which is red ink. Everything else is to be signed in blue. The one that makes the contract owns the contract, okay? If you sign it in black ink, who's to say that it's not another carbon copy? Where's the master file? So if you have any black ink pens, discard them. Make sure you have blue ink for when you engage with these agencies because they will kindly hand you a black one. All right?
Yeah.
So we good? Say that again.
I said I'm gonna call tomorrow. I'm gonna call you tomorrow morning because I got completely confused.
That's all right. You got Auntie Joan on the line.
I know what I'm confused about because you had your name or your new name in capital letters, and that threw me off too because I was picking out every single thing. Like you had Tiffany Trotman.
See, don't get wait a minute, because y'all are getting it confused. You don't get it confused, okay? In reality, a lot of things with upper lowercase matter, but it really doesn't. Don't overthink things while you're going through this process, because if you can't beat them, confuse them, and that's what's got a lot of y'all disfragmented out here in the universe, all right? Don't overthink it. It is simple, all right? Don't overthink it. It is simple. On these documents that we're doing right now, don't overthink it. It does not matter, okay, because we have other things that are in play on the way that that's supposed to go in syntax. So don't overthink it, Jax. Just follow the blueprint.
Okay, so wait, I do have a legitimate question too. All right, so, a while back, you helped me with getting my EIN with my new name. Can I use that name with that EIN to open up my P.O. box tomorrow?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
And remember, Jax, this is being recorded, so go back and listen to the recording.
Yeah, but the post office shouldn't be asking you for no damn EIN for what?
Right.
Well, I know you said get like 3 or 4 EINs, so I'm just making sure because, going through this whole process of changing my name, like, am I going to have a public name with an L and then an actual private name, or is that going to coincide with both?
Yeah, I just discussed that. That's where people get confused. This name change this living trust, that is public. That is you in business, minding your business. You are operating as a business. That is a secure party creditor. That's why I said there is a spiritual name, a tribal name, If you are Tiffany Diane Trotman L, secure party, but in the private, you snapping turtle. Or you could be Empress of the Sea, whatever it is that you want to go by. You could be a symbol. Prince did it. Doesn't matter. There's still another one. Right now, you need to, you're you're not in good standing in your business. You're in bad standing. You are you're indebted. You're a bankrupt corporation.
Right.
So we're changing the name to make it a credible corporation. It's still a company. That's why I don't understand how people get so confused. I think they do a secure party credit process and it's just over. No, it's not. What you did was just stand under the executor of your estate, and now you said that you know how to mind your business. So in the public, mind your business. But when it comes down to the powwow and we're talking about negotiable instruments and things like that, no, you better show up as Burke and Wolf with your tribal ID or you cannot pass no port. Make sense?
All right. Thank you.
All right. But, you know, we'll be here. I got you, Jack.
Anybody
right.
else?
Are we good? We got any other questions?
I got a question.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I got a few questions. One question is, okay, so I did 98 numbers and my 83 number. I noticed you have L and stuff on it, so you would want me to go back and just do it all over with add the L's to my name?
What do you mean, beloved? What are you talking
about? The trust in the estate.
We're going to have to sidebar that one because I'm confused. Who is it? Who am I talking to?
Terrell.
Terrell?
Yes.
What you mean L's? I got L's in your stuff. I got L's in your stuff?
No, ma'am.
So I got L's in your stuff or you got L's in your stuff?
No. I'm asking as far as my trust. Because I've done trust, the 98 and the 83. So would I just go ahead and just redo my paperwork as far as adding the syntax to it?
I'd have to look at it. Like, I've seen the trust that you sent me to collaborate on, but I'd have to see exactly how it is that you have it.
Okay.
Because property can't own property. That's the whole point of the name change, is you got to step outside to be the authorized representative. Remember, it says it must have two parties.
Right.
So you can't be the estate and be the living at the same time. You can't be the defendant and the attorney at the same time. Well, you can't be the defendant and the prosecutor at the same time. All right, because if you go about it that way, then you're going to come into the doctrine of merger, which is going to be a big no-no when operating in trust.
Okay, and the name change.
You can't be the grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiary, beloved.
Okay, I got you. Now, as far as the name change, your first name can't be changed.
What you mean? The first name?
Right, my first name.
I would not alter it except for changing it to syntax or annexing it into that, because it's going to cause a lot of confusion when you're going through these agencies with them correlating your information. You do not want to confuse these people more than they already fucking are. With all those damn IRS publications out there, I guarantee you they don't know none of that shit. So you don't want to make it hard for yourself is the reason why it's this way. You don't want to make it hard for yourself. You want everything to be symbiotic.
Less is more, guys. Don't make it complicated. That makes sense.
Okay. Tiffany, I have a question, or Taj. So you all know I already did my name change. I already did my Social Security card, Akenda LaRue Smith L, right? So when I fill out this SS4 form, because I'm looking at it right now, and I use my registered mail number, the one with the registered mail number, I'm just going to use that one as an example. Right, that's on line 1. And then on line 3, I would do Ioka L Trust. Or am I supposed to use... No, this is right. I'm supposed to use my not my spiritual name. But the name I changed.
Ioka.
I'm looking, yeah.
Go back into the file and look at the example.
Okay, yeah.
All you're doing is just taking out Tiffany's information and then putting yours.
Okay.
Don't overthink it.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
All right.
Yeah.
Somebody had another question. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, real quick. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. When I was doing my request for the birth certificate authentication to the Pennsylvania, they said they sent me back my birth certificate, and they said that where is it? The country in which the document is to be used is not known. We do not authenticate to the United States. So what do I do? What do I put for country for which the document is to be?
What happened was that you confused that, but we're going to go into birth certificate authentication. Right now, we need to talk about these IRS forms. Basically, you just put the wrong information in the wrong box on that DS 4194 or whatever request form that you had. Because what they're saying is they can't authenticate for the United States because authentications are for non-Hague Convention territory. A apostille, or however y'all want to say it, is for domestic. That's why.
Okay.
Taiwan, though. Keep it simple. Taiwan.
Taiwan?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do that.
So we're going to go through that. We're going to go through that when we get into next Thursday and break down that tier. First thing is birth certificate authentication. So, but let's retract to this. You need to stop whatever you're doing. I don't care what y'all got going on. If it is a post office, a UPS box, a registered mail label, and some SS4s and some 8822s and 8832, you need to get back over here. Period, point blank.
They're going to make me tell them a little story.
Back, that's all. I just got it back today, so that's why I was asking, because that was already sent before I even had this going. So, all right, cool beans.
Okay.
I'll wait till next week.
Okay, cool. I got a little story after Tiffany clears the class.
I'm done.
You're done? All right.
I'm done.
Two things. Just for giggles, if you guys, like to drink wine and, smoke cannabis, watch the movie Ted 2. The movie Ted 2.
Yeah.
Okay? That movie's so dope, and it's even better with a bottle of wine. Trust me. I got a little story. There was two bulls, and they were overlooking the meadow. And the son bull, the baby bull, said to the father bull, "Dad, let's go down there and let's mate with one of them, with all of them cows." And the father bull said to the baby bull, he said, "No, son, let's walk down and mate with them all." Y'all think about that tonight. Okay?
Slow on the walk up.
There you go. Slow and steady. Slow and steady. All right, guys, so we're about to close it for tonight. Thank you for your patience. Sometimes, be advised, we did tell you guys like an